really quick, while I have you. Philo, have you heard about it? Oh, it's the best. They're giving you 25% off 2 months of Hallmark, Lifetime, Up, GAC, the sorts. The movies we're talking about? Philo. 25% off. Philo.tv/DTH. Don't let this pass you by. Philo.tv/DTH. Here's the episode.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hey, everybody. Santa's coming tonight, and I'm pretty excited. And I also like Hallmark Christmas movies. I'm also Panda. Sorry about that. I got really excited. I forgot our intro.
I'm Dan, and I'm sorry for my friend here. Santa's not real.
Oh, my God.
I despise Hallmark Christmas movies, and this.
No, hold on.
Wait a minute.
She was off screen. That's what happened. She literally left the screen. Where'd she go? I can't hear a word she's saying either.
Now you're muted. I think your mic.
Man, you want to go again from the top where I don't screw up Santa for everybody, or you want to keep it?
No, yeah, we'll redo it.
I'll do it better this time. I'll remember who I am.
Can't hear
Nope.
you.
Oh, nope.
Just switch back to the computer because it wasn't too bad.
I can't deal with that. Hello, can you hear me?
You're back.
Hey,
I can hear you
hey.
now.
Yeah, you're
Right.
back.
How now? If I hold this and if it gets disconnected again, will you automatically be able to hear me through the computer?
I couldn't
don't
there,
think so.
right? Like when
Oh,
it got
okay, so it's-
disconnected.
It's kind of like we have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna risk it and I'm gonna hold it.
Risk it for the biscuit.
I just think the audio sounds so much better.
It does sound better. All right. So
Okay.
we're going to restart and
I'm
hope
sorry, you
that,
guys.
No,
hope
it is okay. I didn't do so great that round.
yeah.
Panda, you're such a perfectionist that you're not great as everyone else is excellent. But I hear you.
Oh, wow.
thank you.
That was beautiful.
Man,
That
you
was
nailed it.
beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hi, everybody, and Merry Christmas Eve. It's Brad, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hey, everyone. I'm Panda, and Santa's coming.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I also like Hallmark Christmas movies.
Guys,
Don't.
I'm
Don't
Dan.
do it.
I
Don't
gotta
do
be
it.
honest. Santa,
Nope.
Santa might not be coming.
Nope.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but maybe not. I despise Hallmark Christmas movies.
Hi everyone, Merry Christmas Eve. I'm Jen, and I write Hallmark Christmas movies. Or I wrote this one.
Yeah, you
And
did.
this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Yeah,
Oh, my
everybody.
goodness.
Man,
We did it.
what a great way to have Christmas Eve together.
I mean,
my
come
goodness.
on.
To invite Jen Kirkman, our good friend,
What a blessing.
just an absolute vet here on the Deck the Hallmark podcast. Been around
Every year.
every year.
Since the beginning. And Jen, if you didn't see it in the acknowledgments, we not only thank you in the acknowledgments, but we also say you agreed to do our show before we literally had a following of any kind. And
That's right.
that meant the world to us. Like
Aw.
you have been here since the beginning, Jen. So God bless you.
God bless you. And little known trivia fact, your original first 2 episodes, you used to have a phone number where people could call in and leave
That's right.
messages.
Yeah.
I left one. That's
That's
how
right.
early. I don't think you've ever
Yeah.
played it because I think you stopped that format
Early
But
on. That's right.
early on, probably after my long voicemail. But I'm just saying, it's not about the fame for me. I loved you guys before you were famous, and we're keeping it real.
That's right.
you see,
I feel like we did
Come
play
on.
yours. I feel like we did.
And
I
you guys
can't
had me
imagine
on
us-
before
we
I
had to have
became.
played it.
You guys had me on before I became a hotshot deal maker, Hallmark movie writer.
That's right.
That's true.
So-
You wrote the movie that we are going to be reviewing today, which is very exciting. Your first Hallmark screenplay, which is it's thrilling. Tell us really quickly about the process, how it happened, because you weren't, and then you did, and here we are. So how did it all happen?
Yeah, it's funny. In real life, I do comedy and I do write for TV, but I've never written a full length movie. And my manager, my comedy manager, had an assistant who ended up leaving being an assistant to go work in development at Hallmark. And she remembered how much I love these movies. And she said, I can get you a meeting and you can pitch us some stuff. And I was like, great. She's like, the ladies at Hallmark know all about you and your love of Hallmark movies. So they're open. And so this was, oh gosh, like 3 years ago, I pitched them some ideas. And it's actually kind of a easier process in a lot of ways than like I've developed sitcoms that have never gotten on the air. And those processes are like, they just give you notes until the cows come home. But Hallmark really lets you do your own thing. And then with mine, it took about a year. I wrote an outline and then a first draft that I thought was crappy. And then I didn't hear from them for a year. I thought they ghosted me. And we come to find out that maybe there was some shakeups at the network. I have no inside info, but I actually learned it from listening to you guys. And then this summer, I got an email from Hallmark. It was a different person than I'd been dealing with. And she said, we're going to make your movie. And I said, well, how do you know? I only wrote that first draft that I don't think is good. She's like, no, you can write a second draft, but we're making it. So they kind of decide before the second draft that they are committing to make it.
That's unbelievable.
That's wild. And how long, do you know how long from when you turned in second draft to when they started filming? Like, do you know how long of a gap that was?
I turned in the second draft on August 28th, which was also my birthday. And then they hired one of their Hallmark writers to do the third draft. They call it the polished draft. So, I mean, you do the math. The polish probably happened in September. They probably started filming in October.
Wow. It did look a little cold outside. Like it didn't. This movie doesn't look like it was made in the summertime for sure.
I feel like I remember seeing on the socials that it was relatively recently. So
yeah, I think they were filming in November, and from just some casual stalking of some of the stars' Instagram accounts, it looks like they were in a pretty cold part of Canada filming it. I think it was Canada.
Yeah, of course. It was Canada.
Yeah, but it was like not the usual Canada, if that makes sense. It wasn't like a small town in that doesn't have any weather. That's it looked like you're in the mountains somewhere or something.
Right.
But how did your original pitch, when you went in there and you pitched a couple of things, was it even remotely in the ballpark of the story that you told?
Not really. And it's funny you say go in and pitch but I did over the phone, and this is pre-COVID. They just are like super cash. Because I said I gave them 3 ideas, and one of them they said, oh, we're going to do something like that this year already. So this was my third idea that wasn't really like fleshed out, as they say. And so basically it was always going to be a love columnist of some sort who doesn't actually know what she's doing and has a book deal go wrong and kind of has to solve it over Christmas before the new year. And then she's going to end up with someone she's known in the past, but not quite an ex. So like that basic framework.
Yeah. Is that the extent of what you pitch too? Like when you're on the phone with them and then they're like, hey, that's something. Like, is that how it goes?
Kind of. I mean, you kind of give them like, a few thoughts, maybe babble for 2-3 minutes. I had more things in it. Like she was going to be someone who helped other people find dates, and she was going to be doing that in the small town, like running a speed dating thing or something. And it was like what I said, but in my heart I was like, I hate this as I'm saying it. And they're like, we love that. And I was like, no. But then you have to, where you really show what you're going to do is you write a really long outline, and they pay you to write that. And then if they don't like it, they can just say no thanks, and they'll move on, and no hard feelings, and they didn't spend too much money and you didn't spend too much time. So the pitch, I think they're like, yeah, that sounds about right, but let's read it in the outline. That's really where you're kind of pitching.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Super interesting. Now, before everybody gets mad at us and is like, hey, you invited the writer of a movie on to pick it apart in front of her. We didn't do that.
We did not.
Jen wanted to.
That's right.
She reached out to us to do that.
Being a comic, like this is everything she could possibly want in life, I would assume, right?
Well, being a comic, I have the thick skin.
That's right.
To deal with if you guys don't like it. And of course, I can always go, oh, well, it got rewritten a little. But I did not expect to be so excited about this when it came out, that like this is the most excited I've ever been about any project I've been involved with. Wow. And so, I wore my human hat to remind you guys I'm human. Go easy on me.
Okay, fair enough.
But at the same time, what I love about this show is the honesty. And so I would be hurt if you weren't totally honest, I would take that as an insult in a weird way. But I did. Brand texted me a few months ago saying, "Do you want to do your episode that you wrote, or would that be weird?" And I said, "No, not weird at all." And I didn't hear back from him for months. And I was like, "I bet they've decided it would be weird." And I
Classic Brand.
Yeah, I left him a voice memo, and I was like, "Guys, this is ratings gold. I'm not sensitive. Let's do it."
I love it.
There you go.
We would
Here we
never. I don't think there's any other word where we would do this with anyone else but
that's
Jen
true.
Kirkman.
Yep,
That would be the
that's
only
true.
one.
Yeah, you kind of can't do it with actors because actors are so sweet and they're so sincere and they work so hard and kind of being on the inside a little bit. I do have that feeling of like, oh, you don't get how hard it is to get what's in your head up there and then other people. And not that you don't get that, but I'm just saying like I have a lot more empathy now. But at the same time, there's so many ridiculous things that happen in these movies that I'll never stop making fun of them. But actors are a little more of a sincere, sensitive type. And so you can't do that with them. Me?
Yeah.
Who cares? Tough as nails.
We care, Jen. I want to be clear.
That's right. Let's do it.
That's true. You guys are nice.
Let's break this movie down. 'Tis the season to be merry.
Oh, because that's her name. I get it.
Oh,
That's good stuff right there.
Thank you
guys.
by the way, my phone was blowing up. I won't interrupt again. My phone was blowing up during the movie. Is her name Mary or Mary? I'm like, Mary, as in short for Meredith, as in Merry Christmas. But I guess I didn't take into account all the different accents across this great land of ours. So some people, when they say Mary, it sounds like Mary. So anyway, that was the pun I was going for. And all my friends were like, is that what Hallmark did? And I'm like, no, I thought about
that was me. It's all your girl Jen.
That was my idea. But
okay, sorry.
It was done. 'Tis the season to be married originally aired on December 19th, 2021, and it went a little something like this. Mary is a relationship blogger. She posts relationship tips, and the website just blew up. And people just come up to her and ask for advice. It's a thing that happens. And she meets this dude named Dale in a coffee shop. And Dale gets stood up by an online date, or so we think. And they start talking, her and Dale. And they hit it off. And he's just ticking every box off of her list of perfect guys and stuff like that. And then he ends up proposing, and we see a montage of them in love, and he's the inspiration behind her first book, except that's not reality at all. That's all just a little fantasy in her head. Dale really was the inspiration behind her first book, but they never dated. The date ended up showing up. They didn't even date. And so she wants to tell her publisher that the story that she wrote in the book about Dale is all made up, but the publisher's too excited. She can't figure out how to tell her. Her editor and her pal Darlene is really nervous. The word is going to get out about the relationship being a big fat phony. And so Darlene invites Mary to come to her house, to home for Christmas, to figure out what they're going to do about this situation. And she's like, maybe you will, me and my brother Adam can talk again, because he kind of had a little thing. And Mary's like, Adam had a python in high school, hard pass. That is until Adam lays down in his bed and lands on Mary, who's taking a nap. He's shirtless, and we're all better for it. And she sees him and is like, whoa. And he doesn't even have a pet python anymore. So good news all around. She ends up following him into town to meet up with his family for quote unquote the hat thing. And the hat thing is where they draw Christmas chores out of a hat. It's the hat thing.
The hat thing.
And in a true God-wink fashion, Adam and Mary are kind of paired together to do some Christmas activities together. And he tells her that he knows about the whole fake fiance relationship thing, but the secret is safe with him. And also, your rules for relationships are dumb. Love is about the heart. So then the publisher shows up and sees her with Adam, and she's like, is that Dale? And she's like, no, Dale doesn't exist. And so they finally come clean, and she's like, you have to rewrite this book. Can't be a lie. People won't like it. It needs to happen like right now. Darlene's ex is in town. His name is, I think, an ex. Yeah, I think so. His name is James, and he starts hanging around with Mary and Adam, and it's just like looking at him like, what's going on here? And one night, Mary and Adam make middle of the night s'mores, as you do, and talk about past relationships. And one of their chores was to do a Christmas tree auction. To
Mm.
benefit the kids or something. I don't know. And James bids big on Mary's tree accidentally, but clearly he's in love with her, obviously. And Adam finds out that his parents are selling the family business, and he's pretty bummed because they didn't even ask him if he'd be interested in taking it over. So when his ex Julie calls him about a job offer working with elephants in Thailand, it's going to be tough to say no to that. To make matters worse, James asked Mary out to dinner so that Adam can, and Adam is just like looking on real bummed, like a bummed pony. He kind of looks like a pony with his hair. He's like a little pony.
Okay.
Is he not a
Okay.
pony?
I guess.
Kind of looks like a pony.
He's a pony guy.
He's a pony boy. But it turns out not a date at all. James just wants to help getting Darlene to like him. And so he decides the best way to do that is to take Darlene's best friend to the most romantic restaurant in town. You know, you gotta have conversations somewhere.
That's right.
Adam basically blows up at his parents and is like, I might go to Thailand to spend time with elephants, and that's on you. That night, Mary and Adam look up at the stars, and Mary is talking to Adam and tells him that she wants to find someone who loves her for who she is. And Adam says, I want to find someone who will tell me to stay. And she is then silent for 5 seconds and says, it's a great idea for a book. Great idea for a book. Go. And the next day, can't find Adam anywhere. Is he at the airport? I don't know. And so she runs to try to go to the airport to tell Adam basically what's going on. First, she got her pitch approved. So good, yay, the book is going to be great. But then goes to the airport, and turns out Adam is there. But Adam was there because he heard that she was going to be there. And when Mary sees him, she makes a speech and then just goes, "Don't go!" Kind of like that. And turns out he wasn't going to go anywhere anyways. And so he's just there. And they kiss, and apparently they're engaged by the book release, and everybody is happy. And that, my friends, was 'Tis the Season to Be Merry.
Wow.
We did it.
How was that for you, Jen, being on the other side of that?
Oh, it was great. I felt like I laughed and you know, one of your wonderful commenters when you said Travis Van Winkle was shirtless, they wrote he's technically pantsless too.
That's right.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
sharing a bed at one moment with our female lead, which is, I mean, we're breaking down
Above and beyond.
walls
Yeah, it
here.
was
wild.
It was fun to listen to. Yeah, that was amazing.
Well, thank you. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll break this movie down with 4 segments, starting with the hot take here on Deck the Hallmark. Whoa. Welcome back to the Christmas Eve episode of Deck the Hallmark.
Who's
I'm
this
DJ Brian, here to spin up some hot
Spinning some
takes
tracks.
with my friends, where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. Panda.
Yeah.
The people have spoken.
Yep.
You've lost your touch.
Oh,
Wow.
no. The people are very fickle.
They're very
it's a
fickle.
fickle crowd.
Last episode, I was ranked.
Well, that was 2013.
2013.
So since
Class.
2013, you've lost your touch.
Okay.
And I will say this: you have one shot. It's
Okay.
today, Christmas Eve.
Yeah, this is
Don't mess it
for all the marbles.
Bring that Christmas Eve
Sure.
hot take. Tell everybody about how you felt about this movie.
Yeah, so I am going to let you know I am predisposed to like this movie because I like Rachel Lee Cook and
Yeah.
Travis Van Winkle
Yeah.
a whole freaking bunch. And I got to be honest
And
with
Jen
you.
Kirkman.
Yeah, she's fine. And so, listen, this movie is charming. It's endearing. The leads are wonderful. The story is a lot of fun. There's some really memorable scenes in this that we have not seen before, the Christmas auction or the Christmas tree auction. So yeah, listen, guys, like it's hard to pick this movie apart. There's not a lot of things to pick apart, and I'm not just saying that because Jen's on the podcast. It's a really solid, good movie. It's probably going to be in my, I think, top 10. And I really
Is it kicking out Christmas House?
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it might
Christmas
be.
House is number 9.
Okay.
So
This is
it would move it
this
to
is-
10.
This,
This
I don't
is
want
a-
to get ahead of the hot take, but this is a better movie than Christmas House.
Yes, it is. It's a better
I
movie
wanna
than
see
Christmas
all
House.
the commenters what they have to say about
And they're
that,
not gonna.
but-
Yeah, I've just got to be honest. I liked it more than Christmas House, and that's not to say Christmas House. Like we're dealing with both really great movies, but in this case, I really, I really like this movie. It was a lot of fun for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Jen, what did you think of your movie?
Well, I would say the chemistry between Rachel Lee Cook and Travis Van Winkle was great. I had nothing to do with the casting, and I was so happy to hear they were in it. I think Travis is like a super hot guy that doesn't have that kind of like, I don't know, sometimes they've got those Canadian accents and
No, he's from Georgia.
yeah, I loved their chemistry. What I liked about the movie were the moments of reality. So I'll put it to you this way. As much as I didn't want an airport scene, but they put it in there, they kept it real with, were you getting on your flight? No, I came here to see you because I heard you were dropping something off. Like, just they kept undercutting stupid crap. And then, the restaurant, as you did make me realize, oh yeah, he didn't need to take her to a romantic restaurant to have a conversation. He could have had it right there. But when they run into the family at the restaurant, they undercut it with reality by Darlene saying, well, I mean, there's 2 restaurants in town. Every time there was something that we could wink at, they took it away from us, I think, in a good way. That was like, look at, I don't know. I had so much fun watching it. I did not expect, I'll tell you guys really quick. When I found out they were going to rewrite it, but then they gave me the date that it's going to air. I felt like I couldn't be excited because I don't want my name on something that I had nothing to do with.
Sure.
And I wasn't excited until they sent me the final draft and I read it and I was like, oh, there's a lot of me in here. Oh, now I'm excited. And so because I'm in Brooklyn right now, and because of the Omicron surge, I canceled this little party I was going to have where people were going to come watch it. And I watched it by myself, but the texts were coming in fast and furious. I was drinking wine. I was in such a good mood. I loved just the fact that I had anything at all to do with this. Like, these things to me don't seem real. They're Hallmark movies. They're magic. I can't believe I'm inside of one.
That's awesome.
So my take on the movie is way too wrapped up in how I personally felt about being part of it, which is just like, that was so fun. I almost had a letdown the next day, the way you do on the day after Christmas.
Yeah. I it's not just because you wrote, like, I think everybody who watches had a good time. So that's good.
Yep.
These are also 2 of my favorites. Payne, I agree with you. Travis Van Winkle and Rachel Lee Cook have become 2 of my favorite leads.
And last year, the last weekend of the year, they were in
it.
separate movies that we both were down on, and they both did those movies really well.
Didn't expect it, and then we loved them both.
Yeah.
And so really excited that they were paired together. And if you remember last year, Project Christmas, was Travis Van Winkle was just like grumpy dad. And this one, he's just like a child. And so he was really fun in this movie. And these 2 were just delightful together. And it's a really just nice Christmas movie. I really liked it. Also in my top 10. And I want more of these 2 leads. I know that they have things going on. Like Travis is doing different things. And Rachel Lee, I think, just does, like, she did a Netflix thing and she's kind of whatever. But I want to see more of them in these movies because I just think they're a delight. So big win for Brand. Love it.
So we've seen, I know we saw one right before Christmas. We've seen this I'm the love doctor trope like 3 times, I think. And they typically are like my least favorite movies because it's like, love is all math and in the box. And this guy's like, I'm out of the box and blah, blah, blah. This is the absolute best version of that. And it is, and I'm not saying this because you're here, Jen, it is because of the 2 leads in the script behind it. It is quick, it's smart, it has a lot of fun with what it is. Everyone seems to find someone to fall in love with in this movie, which I love because you're just leaning into what a Hallmark trope is. Instead of leaving all the fun for one couple, it's like everyone who's single in this movie is like, hey, are you single too? And so I like Rachel Lee Cook and Travis Van Winkle just fine in their roles. I thought the dialogue was really quick and witty. And so, it definitely plays into that classic, she's in the box, he's out of the box thing, but that's what Hallmark wants. Yeah. And so by that standard and by the Christmas movie standard, I mean, yeah, it's definitely better than the average of what we've seen this year. I mean, there's no question about it. It's definitely better than the Christmas House. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be in my top 10 for the year for sure.
Yeah. In a year where the Hallmarks tried to leave like these type of weird, this felt classic Hallmark but fresh.
Yeah,
it felt fresh. It felt like a Hallmark movie, but it still felt fresh, which I really appreciate.
They did get 2 of the kings of Hallmark dads from Canada to be in this movie too. Like the two Hallmark dads in this movie are just like on the Mount Rushmore of Hallmark dads. So that helps too.
Yep.
which is a sight to behold, by the way.
Yeah,
if
if you
anybody-
ever get up there to
it's-
British
you gotta-
Columbia,
you gotta take-
surround the,
shocking.
you gotta, there's
Yeah.
a secret road.
yeah.
It's a lot smaller than you think, though.
It is when you get there in person.
Yeah.
You're like, man, this isn't as big as me.
Yeah.
But they're a dream. To get on that, I hope that one day I can get. I want to be a dad.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Get rid of one of the dads. I don't know which one.
That's it.
Let's get to the feels. We're talking about what this movie gets feels. Panda.
Guys, I already mentioned it, but that I was on the edge of my seat during the Christmas tree auction for no reason whatsoever. The stakes could not have been lower, but
You were
was
so
as
in.
locked
You
in
were
as
so
I've ever
in.
been. Guys, I fist pumped at one point when a guy made a bid on a tree. He's not even a main character, and I was excited for him. I really enjoyed that. Man, there's also the scene as they're roasting marshmallows. That's a man.
Yep.
That gave me feels warm, cozy feels.
Warm, cozy
Yeah,
feels.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, Jen.
Well, I got Deck the Hallmark brand feels when I saw the trailer, and they had a shirtless guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Not only in a Hallmark movie, but in the trailer. I was
In
like,
the
this is-
trailer.
this is Brand's dream. So I got
Sneak
like personal feels for you guys. But I know this is a weird feel, but my feel was when they were looking at the Christmas trees and she was taking pictures. And he offered to take the camera and take a photo of her, knowing that she's putting it on her social media. Now, I didn't have her as a social media expert in this movie. And so I hate when they make someone a person who works in social media, usually a woman. They always frame them as like the devil, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're always on your phone. They don't treat it like it's a normal job where, we're all
Yeah.
on our phones all the time for work in some form. So I like that he made a couple digs at her, totally normal ones that I felt were just mild. And he wasn't like the jerk that suddenly is nice to someone. He actually said, oh, I'll take that photo for you, and didn't make fun of her job. And I thought that's like something you do when you have a crush on someone, is you are happy to take their picture. And that just gave me little like crush feels, but also good for them for not demonizing people who work in social media.
I know we're going to get to hear some fun writing portions of this for you, Jen, in the What the Hallmark segment, but is there a line in the movie that you wrote that you were just thrilled that made it, like that you're most proud of, or that you just really, that would give you the feels as a writer? Like, I'm so glad they kept this line in or this thing in.
The particular line that I'm proud of, and again, I shouldn't be, but for some reason I am, is when Adam, played by Travis, is talking about making the marshmallows. And he says, like, you haven't blah, blah until you've seen me light a fire with 2 wet sticks. And Rachel says, you can do that. And he goes, no, but you should see me try. I was like, oh, they kept my joke in.
That's funny. I like
That's
that.
great.
That's
That's
really
so
good.
cute.
See, I knew you'd have one that was memorable, and that is something that they typically wouldn't do in prior years, is keep that joke in. So
Yeah. And
fantastic.
somebody said, I hope it's the kid with Santa watching him line. That does sound like me, but I didn't even, that whole conceit of the Santa helper, that was all the other guy. So it wasn't me.
Really,
But funny
With
stuff, yeah.
The kid stuff was funny.
That
Yeah.
was funny.
I appreciate, Jen, that when you think of somebody who wants to see a shirtless man on screen, you think of me, because I have been I've been made many passion speeches in my day of Deck the Hallmark. Hallmark, just like this network is mainly women watching, and they want to see Travis Van Winkle with his shirt off, and we got to see it, and we're better for it. We're better for it. That nobody sees Travis Van Winkle with his shirt off and goes, "Oh, I wish I didn't have to see that." No, everyone's pumped for that.
I was pumped for it. I was pumped for it.
Listen, I'm a straight fella who's been married for 8 years now, and I was thrilled.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes you just want to see some guy with his shirt off and who's clearly good at
Been
doing
working
that.
out.
Been working on that. And you know what? Kudos to him. You crushed it, pal. You look great. And it was great. And it was a funny scene, but then it was put a shirt on. Who's saying that? No one. But it was, I loved it. And so thank you for writing. I felt like that scene was written for me. And so I appreciate that. Jen, thank you for doing that. Dan?
Yeah, I love the kid who realizes that Santa's watching him while he's sleeping and is terrified. I thought that was great. But I got Clemson University feels. We live 50 minutes from Clemson. Like, I grew up watching Clemson football my whole life. I'm a big Clemson fan. And so for this to get like a running I'm not sure if they made the tree and then wrote it backwards for that, or they just both happen to love Clemson. I don't know if you had any part of that or not, but
No.
like getting the reference to Clemson, I did not see that coming. We've never had anything like that in one of these movies.
We
so that
all
was
went,
fun.
what?
We were
Yeah.
they went what? Really?
Yeah, that's so
Fantastic.
funny.
That's so
Because
great.
I didn't I don't know what that is, and I don't know anything about sports or
It's a
college
state
sports.
school in South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
so, yeah.
it was the other guy, and so I keep saying the other guy as if I'm a guy, which is fine. But it's just like maybe he is a fan of Deck the Hallmark. Who knows? Maybe that was a shout out for you guys, just wasn't for me.
Look at
Shout
that.
out to that. Shout out to the other guy. Let's take one more quick break and we'll come back with the Wait What's
I love it.
and the What the Hallmarks here on Deck the Hallmark. Thank you guys. We're back, everybody. We're talking about 'Tis the Season to Be Murray. Murray. Let's get to the Wait What. Sparta, shall we talk about one in this movie didn't make sense to us? Made us stop and say, wait, what? Panda, anything?
Not a lot, but just a couple tiny little things. First of all, as Travis is setting up the Christmas lights on kind of the top of the roof overhead, he turns on the switch as he's on the ladder and it turns on. I just want to know who's putting the switch to turn on the Christmas lights up on their roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Let's put the switch a story up.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and pull out the ladder and turn them on every day. That is commitment.
Mhm.
Also, this is just me, and we had a little conversation, a little banter about this as we were watching. It takes her a long time to roast that marshmallow. Like, is a long roast. He cooks his pretty quick, and then 4 minutes. That's a long time to roast a marshmallow, and it is still not entirely burnt. So I'm not sure what she's doing there. Just don't know. But those are the only two things, guys.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
It's
Man.
airtight, guys. I don't know what you want from me. It's an airtight movie.
People are gonna really accuse you of playing favorites here, you guys. You got to
You know
this
what
up.
though? That's me though. I mean, I'm a softie.
All right.
Jen, do you have any Wait What's in
I
your
do.
movie? Good.
Why are they using ceramic mugs in an outdoor event with hundreds of people? Like they go to get hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Now, my sister texted me during that and she goes, these actors know how to hold mugs, which I appreciate because normally it looks like the cup
They
is
don't,
empty and
yeah.
they're tipping it this way and that. But I was like, also, wouldn't you have like whipped cream like coming out the top? You know, it's like it's like God can't give with both hands. Like they give us actors who can hold a mug correctly, and then they do an absurd thing where they have glass mugs outside with no whipped cream on it. I mean, I was like, one step forward, 2 steps back.
He gives and takes away that God.
He does.
God wink. God did not wink on that scene. And
They
then
didn't wink. He was-
the whole
was
marshmallow
close.
scene. So she gets up in the middle of the night. She's snacking. That's all from the mind of JK over here. And my favorite scene to write was the talk they have roasting the marshmallows. And I loved all of that. But in my version, they think they're going to make s'mores and they can only find marshmallows. And they're like, fine, we'll just roast marshmallows. And they get to the fireplace and they can't find a stick. And that's where that joke originally came from. And they just decide, you know what? Screw it. We'll just eat marshmallows out of the bag in front of the
I
fireplace,
love it.
which I thought would have been cute. And
That would have
and
been
they,
great.
and they could like throw them and try to catch them in their mouth. They did toast the s'mores, which I did have them toasting a marshmallow. So I like that. But at one point, Adam takes the chocolate and the graham and kind of shows Mary how to make it as though she's never made a s'mores. And I was like, she knows how to do that, bro. It was like, there's just a little moment of mansplaining that I was like, he was so perfect until that moment. So I was like, why did she not know how to make one? And why did he assume she didn't? And why didn't she go, I got it, buddy? But other than that, so I think those are my 2 big ones. I mean, I have bigger ones, but we'll talk about it in the What the Hallmark. Like I have an overall plot hole that I'm just not happy with, but we'll talk about it later.
I love it.
I love that. Adam calls a s'more a marshmallow sandwich. Now, it's not that that's
not wrong.
It is
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the marshmallow's the meat, maybe not.
Yeah, it is. What else would it be in
But
that?
doesn't a
The
sandwich
chocolate,
doesn't a sandwich need
That's the cheese.
the cheese, because it's thinner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
doesn't a sandwich need bread?
It's
Isn't
a
that-
graham cracker.
But if you
Right,
said a
right.
roast beef sandwich, there's bread on that.
But a sandwich is but a sandwich by definition is something.
No,
in
it's
between.
something between two things that are holding it together, right?
Yeah.
You can have a sandwich without bread. Can. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not upset about it. It wasn't even a wait what, like that's not right. It just made me stop for a second and be like,
Look, if it wasn't for the chocolate, I would not eat a s'more ever.
oh my gosh,
Ever. Like I don't care much about marshmallows. They don't do much for me. So marshmallows by themselves, whatever. I didn't do anything for
That's
me.
bold. That's bold.
So,
I know.
Right?
The auction scene was a delight, but I know that this is for charity. But to go up $50 each time when you're bidding on a Christmas tree, it's
half a tree.
That's a half a tree.
That's right. You're going to half a tree every time.
That's a heavy incline.
We're trying to get it
when talking about
kids.
trees.
And in this economy, I don't know.
It's for the kids. Although I did feel like I was going up $50 in my bids when I bought a Christmas tree this year.
Oh, no kidding.
It was a big spike.
I put I'm the one that did the $50 part. I was like, this is like, I don't know. This is how auctions work, right? I always feel like they're like for rich people. So I was like, oh, it wouldn't be believable if it went up $5. Like, but it
to be fair, it's completely decorated.
It is completely. No, yeah. Listen, I yes. You know what?
But I will say this: they were auctioning off a 6-footer, and they started by going up in the 50s, and I'm like, that tree only cost $75.
It's a lot to go up, but I appreciate it. And she is a social media. That's what she does for a job. I did find it interesting that she scrolls through at one point and all of her captions are just hashtags.
Yep.
It's just hashtags for the captions.
And no likes.
No likes.
Her social media
3.4
posts,
million followers.
No likes. All
likes,
hashtags.
0 likes on it.
I don't
That's
think
right.
she's as good at this as she thinks she is.
Those are all in the queue. She hasn't posted those
Oh,
yet.
that's right. That's right. Guys, just wait until they post. And then it's crazy. Dan?
This chore split hat is a terrible idea. It's a bad look.
Is that you, Jen? Are you the short hat girl?
It's a Jen. It makes for great television. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. What?
Is that a Kirkman family tradition?
Like, you know what? You know how we spice up Christmas? We make it possible that maybe 70-year-old grandma's got to get on the roof and hang lights. That's how we spice it up. A little bit of possible death. Maybe we do that. Oh, we make Santa pancakes every year for breakfast. Don't screw it up. Now the child's got to do it. Yeah. Good luck, guy. Good luck with the Santa pancakes. You drew it out of the hat. Nothing I can do. That's a bad idea. I would suggest you reevaluate how you divvy out chores. But speaking of which, these people are very excited to do chores.
Yes.
Very excited. They're like, oh, what chore am I going to get to do? I, for the life of me, you asked me to decorate the outside of a house. I'm like, not on your life, pal.
Mm-mm.
If I have to draw something out of a hat where there's a chance that I have to decorate the outside of a house, I'm going to be miserable. My stomach's going to be hurting until I find out what it is. And to be honest, I don't want to make pancakes either. Those are both tasks you don't want me doing. That's a lot.
What's the Christmas chore task that you would thrive at?
Host at the auction. I can host that auction.
Okay.
I would have
For
loved
sure.
to be
Great at
Santa's helper.
Santa's helper.
I
Yeah.
just
You'd be
would
great
love
at
that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I would have loved all of those.
Can I just,
Sure.
before you go to your next wait what, just take you inside the mind, because I think this is so funny, is I basically wrote that scene so that, because they didn't know Mary was coming and whatever, so that Adam could pick one and then there wouldn't be one for Mary and they'd go, oh, you can help Adam. Like that was the whole point, right? We didn't need a hat to get there, obviously, but it's so funny when you're inside of it, like sometimes logic escapes you. And then of course I did the mom picking the lighting thing, like as a joke, but it didn't occur to me. The reality of that is like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And if they're doing these chores every year, they don't need to pick a hat.
No.
Like, what are we going to, it's like everyone just does their thing every
Everyone
year.
does the thing that they do.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. I have no explanation for what was
What's
going on in my
wild
head.
is it's different. We've never seen it before, and so
Yeah.
it sticks out. But there is not a world where you're like, these chores are equal opportunity.
I was hoping
But
that was
they're not equal opportunity chores, Jen.
I was hoping it was a Kirkman family tradition. You were just going to do all over it.
Well, you know, my family, we're all older. My sisters are in their 50s and 60s, and my parents are in their 80s, and I'm in my 40s. We're a late in life family, so we don't do chores.
Your
anymore.
your 80-year-old mother up on the roof installing a switch. She's got to climb the ladder every time to turn on and off.
I pulled it from the hat. My hands are tied. There's nothing I can do.
Ironclad.
It's nothing we could do about it. Yeah, this writer that put in Clemson University does know that it exists, but does not know the correct color of purple and orange of Clemson University, because it is not. A Clemson fan wouldn't be watching and looking at that tree and go, "Ooh, I got to have that tree because it's like Clemson."
Yeah.
Different orange, different purple, swing and a miss there across the board. Were you going to say something, Jen? Or were you
Just
just
how hard is it to Google? I
No
mean,
kidding.
come on, set designer or
I mean,
whomever.
It's that
Yeah.
easy. They probably didn't have it. They weren't buying it. I know we've had a lot of talk about the marshmallow scene, but can we talk about how Travis Van Winkle just chars his marshmallow to a crisp, sets it aside, and then when he eats his s'more, it's totally fine. So his marshmallow is on fire. The marshmallow is black. It's charred. He sets his stick down to help out Rachel Lee Cook and give her the finer points of s'mores making. And then when he gets back to his s'more, his marshmallow is just fine. It looks great. No issues at all. Just glaring mistake there. But we have to talk about the scene before the airport where he looks at her deep in the eyes and goes, "I'm just looking for somebody to tell me not to go." And she looks at him and is basically like, "I can't help you. I hope you find that person. But it is not me
Godspeed.
at this moment. It's not me right now. It's I'm going to just sit and I'm going to think it through for a little bit." I couldn't get over that she's just going to leave him hanging like that.
Jenna
Now I have a
stopped.
thought. Now I didn't write that part. But as a girl or as a human,
Yeah.
there are times when you're with someone you have a crush on and you like literally can't believe they're like spelling it out for you,
Yeah.
to the point where you think that they must not be spelling it out for me because that's too on the nose. Like they must be talking about, they hope someone says that. I can't take a swing right now. I can't say don't go. I mean, this is absurd. I've known him. Like, I think that the intention was for her to be nervous and like, but I wish she had just acted that way instead of jumped up and said, "I have to go right," because it's like,
Yeah.
I wish we had
like
known
that.
that she was afraid to take a shot.
Yeah.
It didn't come off well. It didn't.
I buy that.
work. It didn't
I
work.
buy that. And then last but not least, they're at the airport seeing off the lady who runs the publishing company, and they give her the manuscript, they hug, and then over the intercom, which doesn't exist on that side of security, it says, "Now boarding flight for Boston." And she says, "That's me. I've got bad news. She's not finished going through security yet. She's not gotten to her gate yet. She is not making her flight. If they are boarding that flight and she is on this side of security,
She's in trouble.
It's over. Say goodnight. You're staying another night in that small town. She's never making it. She's not making it.
Unless that guy is Dan and he's a guy running late for a flight in Atlanta.
Then he makes it every time.
And he goes
We don't know
6
how he
lanes
does it.
across. Guys, it's a story for another
We'll tell
day.
it another time.
I have
but
one
made it,
more.
and that's
Wait, what?
counts, and I was on Kelly Clarkson. What were you going to say, Jen?
Oh, yeah. I have to see you guys on Kelly. I have one more thought. Wait, what?
Yeah.
When Rachel Lee Cook goes to take a nap, and then we realize it's Adam's room, and he's staying there, and he's like, "Oh, I'll stay on the couch. No big deal." Now, I wrote this house to be like a little farmhouse, 3-bedroom. But once I saw the house, I was like, that house doesn't have 17 bedrooms. Like that place is a mansion. That place is nicer than some of the royal family houses in the royal movies. Like these people are rich. So I didn't believe that there wasn't an extra bedroom because of just how nice that house was.
Yeah, no, that's true.
No, that's good.
Yeah, someone in the chat says she could have TSA pre-check, maybe a clear situation, breeze right through that, and she would.
But even
But
if they're boarding, it's 15 minutes.
Dude, you have got to
even
book
with
it.
TSA
book it.
pre-check, unless your terminal.
Here's what's great. She had an A1 terminal.
She had
A1,
and she was in A.
clear, and she had clear. And
she literally knows that she's going to get TSA pre-check, and the first gate is her gate. That's the only way she's making it.
That's it.
And even then, it's probably touch and go, depending on where the boarding is.
That Burlington, Vermont airport, I don't know if that's the one they were in, but it is so small that you almost feel like, should I even get on these planes? Like, it's like small. Like I've seen Starbucks that are bigger than the Burlington airport. So maybe it was that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was. Still,
Maybe.
I mean, even at GSP, With security,
there's
GSP. If they're boarding, we're not making it.
There's one situation. When I had a job interview in Maryland, I flew into the smallest airport I've ever flown into, and it was literally essentially just one room. Maybe that's the situation.
And she has to be TSA pre-check because those places the security's off. Like it takes forever. It's like 2 people.
Except no one's ever there. Yeah. That was the only.
Well, GSP gets backed up nonstop.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can talk about airports all day.
It was a real small airport, and.
Okay. Is this when you guys are announcing the 2022 podcast called Deck the Airport?
Yeah, we review airports. I will be honest, I have a lot of thoughts on airports.
That sounds like fun.
We travel to different airports just to see the airports, and then we just go straight home. Jen, when are you coming to do a show in Greenville, South Carolina?
Well, I don't tour anymore. I stopped touring like 2 years ago, so probably never. But I would come and do like a live pod episode or something now that I'm on the East Coast and it's an easy flight. Once this,
I love
what dies down up there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about giving up touring too.
Yeah. Keep thinking about it.
I've never been happier, to be honest. It's a grind.
It sounds awful. Every time I hear a comedian talk about touring, I'm just like, why do you do it? It's got to be for the love of the game.
No, it's the only way you get paid.
Yeah.
All that TV stuff looks fancy, but doesn't really pay.
That's right. You know
guys
it.
know. You know those. Did you become millionaires going on Kelly Clarkson? No.
Sure didn't, Jen.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I went to Outback Steakhouse as a celebration. Had a gift card, but it doesn't matter. I was flying big.
Yeah, you were.
That's right.
Let's get to what the Hallmark Spark show. You want what could have been maybe having some clear questions that we still have. Luckily, we have the writer, so I think we'll be in luck. To give us some clarity.
I want to hear from Jen. This is the segment. We just get to hear from Jen.
Do you have any questions? Maybe it'll be part of what I was going to say anyway.
I don't think I have any questions.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so really quick, my original version was that whole thing with, Dale. That was all from my brain. But what was going to happen is, I didn't want, I'm a love person, I have rules. And when I was talking with Hallmark, every time we talked throughout all my drafts, they'd be like, and maybe she's has rules. And that's, and she gives advice. And I was like, no, she's a columnist. Sort of like Carrie from Sex and the City, where she doesn't tell anyone what to do. She just writes about her dating life. And she's always face planting, always falling hard, getting ghosted. She cannot find love because she's looking for a spark. Right. And what I had her do in that coffee shop is decide, you know what? I don't think sparks exist. I think that's movie stuff. I'm going to make a list of like good qualities someone can have. And that's it. If a guy has those qualities, we're done. And she meets Dale, who's getting stood up, and he mentions that he also has a list. They're perfect for each other. A year goes by, and she is writing a book. They're engaged, and we basically find out that, what she liked about Dale is he's a take charge guy. He went to London to see off his dad, who was retiring, and at the last minute, his dad decided, I'm not going to retire. We don't see any of this, but he just says it. And his dad's like, I'm going to keep the real estate company going, and Dale buys a place in England, and he basically says to Mary, like, when you're done with your book tour, like, this is where we live, and this is where we're gonna live after we're married. And she's like, and he's like, I thought that you liked that I took charge. Did I mess up? And she gets a feeling that this isn't right, but she can't explain it, and they break up, right?
Yeah.
So she has to run to the book editor and be like, that book that's about to go to publishing in the new year, it's a lie. We're not together. I don't know what I'm doing. I made up this stupid list thing, and I guess it was dumb. And I don't want to go on a book tour where I'm supposed to be engaged and I'm not. So it's basically, we get the same thing out of what they did. And Rachel Lee Cook DM'd me on Twitter and said, I'm a fan of your comedy. I wanted to do your movie. But she's the one that came up with the conceit that Mary made the guy up.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so charming because, I've heard this, and you guys have heard this from the actors, that they do let the actors really do some rewriting on the fly.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And so I liked that she came up with that because she's quirky. And even though like there's a lot of plot holes with that, I thought, oh, well, let's have some fun. I mean, it is a really good, silly plot point, even though it would never happen,
Ever. Yeah.
Ever. And so there's that. I felt like they didn't, what the Hallmark, I had it that everything you see there, Sonia's like, I love Christmas. I love falling in love at Christmas. This book is going to be huge in the fourth quarter. I see the sequels, but they had to add that the company might go under if the book doesn't go. And that's a stake we don't need. The stakes
No.
are high enough that
That's
as
right.
a small company, you put your weight behind someone who made up a person. That's a big deal.
Yeah, already signed them to a full contract apparently, and that book they're hinging their entire company on. That
It
seems
just-
like a bit much.
Yeah, and it's like, and she goes to the small village and falls in love with Joe, and it's like her company might go under, but she's enjoying some hot chocolate. And I mean, I don't know. It just that I didn't love, but I wrote Sonia. I said she should be feared like Miranda from Devil Wears Prada, but she should be quirky like Moira from Schitt's Creek.
Oh wow,
And
that's fun.
They took out a lot of her quirkiness.
Yeah.
And made her like very serious and earnest. But I think the actor still had that spark where she had a little bit of a wink, like a little bit of she was weird. Like it was fun.
Yep.
Like she had a definite like.
She had a line that
fun
says,
streak.
"This is something I just wear to keep out the cold," which sounded like it was straight from Jane Austen. And
Yeah.
I was like, "What's she doing here?" And it was a little quirky. So they tried to do a little something.
She was quirky, yeah. The other thing is the Christmas tree auction was supposed to be the end scene. So what was supposed to happen?
Oh.
Yeah, and in
Wow.
my version, Darlene is married to this guy Nick, and Nick is a comedic relief who sort of blurts out the obvious. He's not consequential, so it's fine. They took him out, and I did have Joe's son, and Mary go on a date, but I think it does make more sense that they had him be in love with Darlene, so that's all good. But in my version, Travis is looking at the stars. He sees Mary get picked up by Joe, and she goes on the date. But during the date, she realizes she loves Travis, so she's going to go back home and tell him. And she gets back home. She goes to bed. But in the morning, she sees that the couch is made up. He's gone. She goes to tell the family, where's, Adam? And they're like, I think he might have gone back to Guatemala. And she's like, oh. And they're like, Mary, he's in love with you. And she's like, what? That whole thing. Kind of like a Ross and Rachel, where the friends were like, you didn't know Ross has loved you the whole time. The family kind of does that to her.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I got to tell him. And they're like, well, go tell him. And she's like, what am I going to do? Show up at the airport? And so what she does, so my whole journey for Mary was not, I like rules. Love is a number. My journey for her was, I'm a little older. I can't let my fans down and let them know that I'm not engaged. I'm just hiding until I can face it. I don't want them to know I screwed up. They were rooting for me. They had hope for me. And if they find out that I couldn't even make my engagement work, they're going to hate me, And so hers is learning how, and during the movie, Adam's supposed to help her realize, hey, you used to fall on your face all the time in your column. Why are you afraid to show who you really are now? And she's like, because I thought I figured it out. He's like, nobody's ever figured it out, And then with Adam, his goal was he wanted to start a nonprofit in Boston that helps kids learn to build the way he did and go around the world and help people. And he's afraid to fail. So they help each other with that. It's not love is this, love is a number.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the airport scene. I felt like it was a blender of tropes that like an AI could spit out.
That's right. Correct.
Like it was like three disparate thoughts, like love isn't a number, love is this. And it was just like, that's not even the issue here, but whatever. Okay. So in my version, Mary is like, I have to tell him. And she's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on like Instagram Live, and I'm going to both confess to all my fans that I screwed up. This book, I'm a fraud. And I'm going to tell Chris, not I love him, but I like you and all that kind of stuff. And they're hoping that, because he wasn't picking up the phone, and they're hoping that at the airport he's watching. And we see that he is, because the teenage girl next to him is watching it. And he's like, she's talking about me. And the teenage girl's like, yeah, whatever, dude. And so Mary has to she does the Instagram Live where she, confesses her love for Chris. And then she doesn't hear from him, and she has to get up and go do the Christmas tree auction alone in front of all these people. And in my version, Joe and Sonia had a little bit of not a fight, but she said something like, this has been a fun distraction. And he asked her to stay for Christmas, and he thinks like she's not that into it. So the point of her buying the $1,000 tree was to say, and I'm going to bring it to your house, and we're going to spend Christmas together, Joe.
Oh, that's fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better than the airport scene. That would be
me
fun.
too. So Mary's supposed to be on stage at the auction going, and we have this fir tree and this blah, blah. And Adam's there, and he raises his hand. She goes, sir, would you like to bid on a tree? And he goes, no, I'd like to take you on a date. And she's like, well, get up here and help me with the auction. And as they hug and we close up on them, he says, I saw your video. I came back for you. and they do the auction, and then they kiss. Cut to a year later, she's at her book signing, and she's like, and blah, blah, love. Now, does anyone have any questions about the book? And Adam raises his hand, and they're dating, so it's not weird that he's there. And he says, do you have any plans for book number 2? And she says, yes, in fact, I just turned in my proposal. And he says, speaking of proposals, and he proposes.
Oh.
Ayo.
Love
So
that.
I'm sort of bummed that they took it where they did, but I will say one last thing. It's not very clear in the movie, but I'm pretty sure the fact that Adam has a suit on when he's with her at the book signing, that what I wrote, that he moves to the city to be with her and to start his nonprofit, is what happened, which I believe this is the first Hallmark movie where the man moves to the city.
I love it.
I
The
love
man
it.
moves
That's
to the big
great.
city. You did it, Jen.
I did it. I wish it was a little more obvious, because I think this is a big moment in feminist
They had to
history.
slide it in there. They had to slide it in there.
right
It's
in there.
progress.
But
That's
hey,
right.
it's baby steps. Next one.
That's right.
It's baby steps.
Maybe they'll
baby
say
steps.
it. Maybe
That's exactly
the
right.
Declaration of Love will
Yes, I
include it.
walk so the next woman could fly.
That's right. Jen, I hope that you get to write another one. I don't know if you
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Want, I don't
Great
know if you
job.
want to or not. But
I do. I don't know if they're like, I hope the ratings are good or something, because I feel like they're just not that into it. Like, I wrote the woman at Hallmark, like, I'm watching the movie, it's so good. She's like, yeah, we were really happy with how this turned out, but didn't say anything more. Like,
What?
I think sometimes that's what they
Hallmark.
do, though, right? Don't they play their
Hallmark,
their
just
cards?
let Jen
close to the
Kirkman.
vest?
You believe it. You need her. Just please
Oh,
let
yes.
her write more
Trust-
movies
come on.
for the love.
Just
We're
let it
telling
happen.
you.
Just let it
Yeah.
happen.
you guys
Hallmark.
call them or tweet them. Everyone tweet and
I love it.
them.
Yeah, tweet them. Say we want more Jen Kirkman
That's
movies.
And
If
have it
we-
rewritten by Dwayne again, and we're a good team.
Yeah.
I love it.
If we stop the ding at the beginning of the season together, we can make this happen.
Yeah,
can do
we
it.
can.
That's
We can make
exactly
it
right.
happen.
That's right.
Jen, you're the best. Tell people about how they can follow you on the internets and do that, all that good
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
And I'm sorry, I know this was a longer episode because I talked
no,
so
you're
much.
great.
You're
No,
good.
Great.
I would like to plug one thing that I think is important this holiday season. In my new ventures in life, I decided to use my sense of humor and my more than 30 years experience with having anxiety and panic disorders to start a new podcast. And it's
Oh,
been
this is
going,
great.
Yes.
yeah, it's been going since October, and it's called Anxiety Bites. And it's a real podcast. It's not a comedy podcast. And I interview experts from neuroscientists to psychiatrists to authors to other artists about their experiences with anxiety. So my goal is to normalize anxiety. And when we talk about it, we talk about it in a straightforward, but also kind of fun, lighthearted way, so that anyone listening realizes the way they can approach getting help with anxiety can have a little bit of a levity to it. It doesn't have to be funny necessarily, but we can all say, oh, actually, this is more normal than we thought. So I would love if everyone could get into that podcast, download it, listen to it once, after you listen to Deck the Hallmark. But that's like my big kind of pivot. I'm not touring, and I'd like to eventually get into doing, work for people with anxiety and especially kids and stuff. So
I love it.
that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it.
It's
Jen,
been-
you're the best. We love you. We're
Yep.
so happy that you keep coming on the show.
For
It
sure,
means so
Jen.
much. And it makes us so happy. But we're also just thrilled that we get to call you friend, and that
Yep.
you're a part of our
Oh,
life.
you guys, it's just what a journey we've all been on. Like,
No
I
kidding.
can't
Man, that's true.
believe
No
that
kidding.
you guys now, it's like a full-time thing, and I wrote a movie. Like,
What's
We're
going on?
doing it.
We're doing it.
We're
Space-
doing it, everybody. Look at
space
us.
travel.
Look at
What
us.
are we gonna do next year? Oh,
All right, Jen, just hold on a second because we
Real
got,
quick,
we
Jen.
gotta-
I know you've got
Hold on.
things, but
It's
there's a
Christmas Eve.
tradition that's as old as
this
you
food
coming on
comes
this
from.
show is.
Yeah.
It's Christmas Eve, guys. That means one thing and one thing only.
Sir, I wanna buy these shoes for my mama, please. It's Christmas Eve and these shoes are just her size. Could you hurry, sir? Daddy says there's not much time. You see, she's been sick for quite a while, and I know these shoes will make her smile, and I want her to look beautiful. Mama means Jesus. And then I saw him of heaven's eyes as he threw it right out. I knew that God had sent that little boy to remind me what Christmas is all about. Sir, I wanna buy these shoes for my mama, please. It's Christmas Eve and these shoes are just her size. But could you hurry? sorry, sir. Daddy says there's not much time. You see, she's been sick for quite a while, and I know these shoes will make her smile, and I want her to look beautiful if Mama meets Jesus. I want her to look beautiful if Mama meets Jesus tonight. Thanks, Jen.
Let's make it happen,
Flying
guys.
cars.
All right,
Jen, you're
you
the
guys-
best. Merry Christmas to you. Yes. No. You.
You go ahead.
You
go.
do it.
You go, and then we do it. Then we'll all
May
do
I
it
be
together.
the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas!
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast. It's presented by Philo TV. It's produced by Brandon Gray and recorded live in, that Greenville, South Carolina. Set decor is by Plum at Haywood Mall. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on Bramble Jam Podcast Network, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com.